of the 20th Congress to order. May we all rise for a moment of silent prayer. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Alick. Senator Aritos. Senator Figuer. Senator Goland. Floor Leader Harper. Senator Conman.
Aye.
Senator Neth. Senator Panuelo. Senator Perman. Senator Romulo. Senator Ursmal. Senator Wally. Speaker Simina. Acting Speaker Moses.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 12 members are present.
With that, Congress has quorum. Item number 4, reading of the journal. Floor Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good morning to you and all honorable members, as well as our staff and all those who are observing our session this morning from the gallery. Again, Mr. Speaker, I move to dispense with the reading of the journal.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress dispense with the reading of the journal. Discussion, objections? If none, we will vote on the said motion. All in favor of the said motion say aye. All opposed say nay. Congress has now dispensed with the reading of the journal. Next item, Chief Clerk.
Item 5, Presidential Communications, there are none.
Next item.
Item 6, the FSM Supreme Court Communications, none either.
Next item.
Item 7, Member Communications, there are none.
Next.
Item 8, Departmental Communications, none, Mr. Speaker.
Next.
Item 9, Agency or Governmental Authority Communications, none.
Next item.
Item 10, State Communications, we have one and it's number 20-13.
Assign that. Next item.
Item 11, State Supreme Court Communications, there are none, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 12, Municipal or Town Communications, there are none.
Next item.
Item 13, Foreign Government Communications, none, Mr. Speaker.
Order of the day.
Mr. Speaker, under order of the day, item 14, Standing Committee reports. The first one is Standing Committee report number 20-48 on Congressional Resolution number 20-66 from your Committee on External Affairs for adoption.
Chairman Wooley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. Move for adoption of the said report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress adopt Standing Committee Report number 20-48. Discussion? Chairman Wooley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I deferred action on this resolution, this report until today, so more members will be present to cast their vote in favor of the nominee here. I want to thank you, your office, Mr. Acting Speaker, for allowing members to travel to Portland, Oregon to conduct the confirmation hearing on this nominee. And this is the first time as chairman I have traveled outside FSM to do a confirmation hearing. And I'm really glad I did, because I get to know a lot of other people that were in the confirmation hearing. There is no question, after reviewing the nominee's education and work background, that he is well suited for the position of Consul General in Portland, Oregon. In our hearing, several members from the community came to the meeting to testify on behalf of the nominee. And their written testimonies were submitted in last week's papers. One of the supporters said the following, and I want to quote. He said, I quote, "In my judgment, Joe Enlet has the leadership skills to be an excellent fit for the position of Consul General. His education, pastoral, and job history, when combined with his business and human relations acumen, have prepared him well for a new stage in his career," unquote. This is excellent. This report or this statement is really describe the person that we are about to confirm here. I also want to note that the current governor of Oregon, Governor Kate Jackson, appointed the nominee to serve on the Oregon Health Insurance Marketplace Advisory Committee in 2016, and is still serving until today. That itself speaks volume in regard to the nominee. I do not know any other micronations that have been appointed by a governor in any of the states. He has a very impressive work history. His communication skill is well beyond an average Micronesian, and in my personal opinion, the nominee has groomed himself for the position he's been nominated for. So please, members, when we come to the resolution calendar on item 19, please vote yes on Congressional Resolution number 20-66. Let's confirm the nominee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Willie. Any other discussion on the said report? Chairman
Mr.
Ursma?
Speaker.
Or floor leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A very minor and unimportant question, but out of curiosity, on page 2, second to the last paragraph, the sentence said, he attended the Northwest Family Service, and on and on and on. What is this Northwest Family Service? Is it the Northwest that Romulo is representing in the Congress, or is it some kind of a church?
Chairman Willie, care to answer?
May I defer the question to Chairman Romulo?
Chairman Romulo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Northwest reflected in the report refers to the Pacific Northwest in the U.S. mainland, not the Northwest in the Chuk State region. Thank you.
Is that sufficient, floor leader? Chairman Ursma, you have the floor.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much. Just again, following suit of the good floor leader, just some minor questions that I wish to raise. Number one, let me start with a concern. It's a small concern, and that is with regard to the Department of Foreign Affairs. I note, or at least my understanding is that the Department usually recommends people from within, especially for like Consul General, Deputy Chief, so that they can move up the ladder. I'm just wondering if there is no qualified person to serve in this position as we are entertaining here. I know the position, because of an act of Congress, is subject to advice and first nominated by the President. Secondly, the issue raised by the good chairman of External Affairs Committee relating to the governor appointment of the individual to serve on something. Is it because the person is a U.S. citizen? That's why he's able to serve on a board, or what is the connection? The name sounds like a Chuki's name, but being appointed, does that mean that the person is either a U.S. citizen or a dual citizen?
Chairman Willie, care to answer?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure there are other Micronesians that are qualified for this position here, but this is the wish of the President. And members, if you don't agree or don't think that the nomination is not for that position, then you can vote no on it. But I would urge that everyone support this nominee. We need to get that office moving. The people in that area need this office to be established and manned. So we need this nomination to be confirmed. As in relating to the citizenship of this nominee, I don't know. I don't know what the requirement is for anybody to be appointed and sitting on a board. But I don't think it matters in this case. That's my opinion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, good morning to you, and good morning to members and citizens who are observing from the gallery. Speaker, I wish to speak to the nominee, if you allow me. I first wish to thank the chairman of the External Affairs Committee and members for the task of conducting public hearing in Portland. I think it was wise to do it so that we can pick up the actual feeling of our citizens and officials who reside in the state of Oregon, where we are establishing the new consulate office. I know Cho Enlet very well. He's an individual. I need not belabor the issue because the chairman has spoke to it and members, but Cho Enlet is a unique individual, young individual, FSM citizen. We all know he's one of the active members of the CAN group, the COVA Alliance National Network. This is the group of FSM citizens, including other RMI and Palau citizens who are very active in the state of Oregon, and speaks to his experience and his personality. He helps every citizen, our citizens all together, the states of Chuk, Yap, Koshai, and Pone, very active in lobbying the leadership of Oregon, as we all know, in the various bills that helped our citizens in the area of health, driver's license, and related issues in Portland. You recall that we also helped the CAN group. Congress directly helped them with some appropriation to assist our citizens in the Northwest. I want to say that I support this nominee and encourage that we quickly confirm this individual to begin the task of representing our government in the office in Portland, our new consulate office, and to begin the service of assisting our citizens in the Northwest area in the United States. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. For clarification, Chairman Willie, there was a point of clarification as to the individual citizenship.
Speaker, my understanding, Mr. Speaker, is that he is a Micronesian citizen.
Thank you, Chairman.
As stated by good Chairman Panuelo here, the nominee has done a lot of work for people from the FAS and islanders in general. And I guess the governor has noticed his work, his contribution to help these people here. That's why she appointed him to this board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman
Speaker,
Willie.
if I may.
Speaker,
Chairman Golan.
thank you. Just a point of clarification on the citizenship of this nominee. He's a FSM citizen. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Speaker.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I just
Chairman.
hope to note for my friend sitting straight across from me, as Chairman of External Affairs Committee, I hope we would not have mentioned the fact that it doesn't matter whether he doesn't know, and it shouldn't matter if he's a FSM citizen. Anyone appointed to serve in our embassies, consulate offices, especially in this position, must be an FSM citizen. So it matters whether that person is an FSM citizen or not. And my question does not relate to, like I said, maybe I'm disappointed because I had asked the chairman when the trip is made that I be part of it, but and I wasn't informed. But I want to know about these things so I can cast an educated vote. I have no problem with individually if what they're saying is true. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman.
Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Romulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just to add on what has been said and also to clarify some other issues that was raised by other members. Yes, indeed, it's a practice that to appoint members to appoint key position in our consulate or missions, overseas mission, as practice, they usually appointed within the department to elevate or to move up the ladder. But with the consulate offices, mostly what they do, they deal with consular activities. And I think they do factor in that this nominee has less experience in diplomacy, but they have a good experience in consular related services. So I believe that they weigh in both the lack of diplomacy and the experience in consular services, and because of the nature of the work that will be done at the consulate office will be mostly consular activities in nature to help our citizens at certain areas. So I believe they have factored that, and they come up with the nominee that they submitted for us. And I ask that we proceed on this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you,
Speaker.
Chairman. Chairman Willie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. All FSM citizens are allowed to work in the United States, and this appointed position is not a diplomatic position. It's not to work with the NA and all related matters, issues regarding diplomacy. This is just a board member. And regarding members' travel, all members are invited to travel when a committee is traveling. And usually the notice is given to those that are member of that committee. The chairman is saying that we didn't notify him. First, he's not a member of the committee, and all members are invited when we travel. If they know there's a group traveling or a committee traveling to somewhere, they can put their name in for you to approve, for Speaker to approve or not to approve. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any more discussion?
Question.
Question has been called for. If no objection, we will vote on the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 20-48. All in favor of adoption of the Standing Committee Report number 20-48, say aye.
Yes.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. We have now adopted Standing Committee Report number 20-48. Chief Clerk, next report.
Mr. Speaker, the next report is Standing Committee Report number 20-50 on Congressional Bill number 20-89 from your Committee on Health and Social Affairs for adoption.
Chairman Perman.
I was hoping that you give me the chair a while ago, but okay. Well, Mr. Speaker, good morning to you, members, and all that is observing our session this morning, and that's including live feeds and everybody. Mr. Speaker, I so move for
Standing Committee Report number 20-50. Discussion. Chairman Perman.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is a report on, as we all know, that we've been using MyCare, our health insurance. That's the name we've known to, I guess, all members and everybody around. The real name for this health insurance is the National Government Employees. So merely we're changing that to MyCare because that's what's known to everybody. And the other one, the amendment is right now, if you notice that if tomorrow I die, everybody under dependent is no longer eligible for the health insurance. Basically what this amendment is doing, that if I die, my wife or kids is still eligible if they pay the premium of 100%. That's simple as that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Any further discussion? Chairman Figueroa.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Perhaps I'm not a member of the committee, but and I don't care what you call it. You can call it a snake, but I wonder if we I have not really had a chance to read the report and try to understand it. However, I'm a bit confused because I've heard and still hearing a lot of problems of people and abuse of the program, and the abuses mostly come from the higher up, from politicians. I wonder if in the bill and in the report, if there's any discussion getting toward to that abuses, to the abuses, where politicians would pick up the phone and say, hey, pay my relatives referral, or pay the remains of my relative to be expatriated back to the FSM. That's the kind of complaint that I hear almost every quarters or every now and then, but it's complaint coming. And we need to fix that. Otherwise, belly up, it's going to mean we're going to continue subsidizing the program for the people who are in the elite brackets. I wonder if the committee and this Congress are looking into that kind of abuses.
Chairman Perman.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, Chairman of Ways and Means. Your concern is fully noted. And as we all know, and I'll repeat that the purpose of this Standing Committee report is to tackle two things: is the name change and the amendment to the beneficiaries or who can enroll right after if the main carrier is deceased. But regarding what Chairman Frigger said, yes, all those things, we're going to have another hearing regarding MyCare and all the issues that have been raising among all our clients and everywhere else. Because yes, there's complaints and there are concerns or questions regarding how MyCare is running the system. And it's fully noted. Well, I'm pretty sure sooner or later when Office of the Speaker will give us another task to really look into it, or so we can take that as part of our work and do another oversight hearing regarding that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you,
Speaker.
Chairman Figueroa.
Yeah, I appreciate the explanation, but the explanation given by the chairman is just like turning our faces away from the crux of the problem and not fixing it. And I...
Short recess.
Short recess.
Speaker.
Any further discussion? Chairman Romulo?
Yes, thank you, Speaker. Just a point of clarification on the said amendment. Is the amendment mentioned that this a mandatory or an optional for the family? I don't want to burden my family to be mandatory to pay, but if it's it could be
optional.
Optional, but maybe I didn't hear it. Thank you.
Berman, care to?
I'll yield the floor to, but it's optional, it's not mandatory.
Chairman Figueroa?
I disagree with that because I think the healthcare or the MyCare or UCare, whatever they call it, or it's mandatory, which is unconstitutional because they're forcing employees that do not want to enroll in the program, enroll. So I think we have someone can probably challenge that, and someone may use that to get these dependents or this survival of the deceased, force them to join the program. So I think the question raised by the chairman is a valid one, and that needs to be looked at.
Speaker, can I? Mandatory if you're FSM national employee, but not private sectors and other agencies. That is not part of FSM. That's what. Yes, that issue was raised regarding forcing people to be part of that system, you know. And the question is, what happened if they don't want to be part of the system? Well, the previous Congresses or policymakers, lawmakers, way before us, make sure that it becomes or became mandatory, because if not, then that system will go belly up or bankrupt. Because if they decided to go somewhere else, then the national MyCare or national government employees will go and will be asking subsidies from Congress to make sure it stays alive. But the question raised by Chairman Robson, that the amendment will make it mandatory for my wife or my children to be part of the system. No, that option is optional. But it gives them, if they want to keep enrolling, as long as they pay the 100% premium, they can enroll. Right now, if I drop dead tomorrow or right now, that system is no longer eligible for my little family. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Rule 4, Sections 7 and 8, I rule that debate be closed. We will vote on adoption of Standing Committee Report number 20-50. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Standing Committee Report number 20-50 has been adopted by Congress. Next report.
Mr. Speaker, we have Standing Committee Report number 20-51 on Congressional Resolution number 20-67 from your Committee on R&D for adoption.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, thank you. Speaker, I so move for the adoption of said report.
Discussion.
Speaker, Speaker, can you also use your power to close debate?
When I feel that the discussion has gone on. The motion is to adopt Standing Committee Report number 20-51. Discussion.
Speaker.
Chairman Panuelo.
Thank you. Speaker, your committee on R&D conducted a public hearing on the nomination of Mr. Peter Carangpel to serve as a member of the board of NORMA. Currently, the nominee's term is expired, as members are aware, and it's Mr. Carangpel is eligible to be reappointed pursuant to the new amendment to the law, which created the board of directors of NORMA. The report is self-explanatory. Peter is a very active member of the NORMA board over the years, and President has seen fit to reappoint this individual. Your committee recommends reappointment of Peter Carangpel to continue to serve on the board. In a nutshell, that's what I want to share on behalf of the R&D committee, and we fully recommend the confirmation of this individual to continue to serve on the NORMA board. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Any further discussion on the said report?
Question.
Who is that?
You need to look at me sometime, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman Figueroa.
Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate the explanation and the justification given by the good chairman of R&D. However, I'm just curious. These gentlemen serve on many boards. The question on that is, if he's a very productive and effective person serving on too many boards, would not diminish his effectiveness in serving?
Speaker.
That's the first question. The other one, what has been contribution or accomplishment being serving on this board and other boards that justify his reappointment to serve on the NORMA board? And when I ask accomplishment in the term of commercial and conservation of the fish and ocean resources.
Chairman Panuelo, care to.
Speaker, I thank the good chairman of Ways and Means for his questions, and it's good to I know we opened the public hearing so that members can come and ask those kind of questions, and we welcome the questions that are being asked by the good chairman of means. When we call oversight on Norma, Peter Carangvel is one of the most experienced members of the board. The continuity of his experience is a good one on the board, so that that kind of experience can guide the most important agency in the FSM, which brings in the biggest revenue source to our nation's treasury. Based on the testimony that we've had, it's true that he serves on other boards, and the only board that I'm aware of is that he's a current member of the Petrocorp board, and he's the general manager of the FSMDC branch in the state of Yap. Based on the testimony by the executive director and witnesses that were present during the hearing, it was said that he was one of the active and continues to be one of the most active and experienced board members. He's active in the bilateral negotiations that we hold with the fisheries partners that fish in our waters. He's experienced in the business side of the work that the board carries out, the mandate of the board in the Norma authority, our authority that negotiates fisheries. And over the years, you see that we bring in continued increase of revenues in the source of fees that we collect from distant water fishing nations. In the area of conservation, we know that the FDS, or the Vessel Day Scheme, is the mechanism that Norma uses to help manage our fisheries so that it's not overexploited. It's limited the number of days that we're allowed to sell to distant water fishing nations so that it can limit. And working with the FFA and other regional organizations in the area of management, including the PNA members and the Tuna Commission, Norma is active in making sure that our fisheries resource is protected as well. And the work is very complicated, fisheries issue in the region. And so the experience of Peter Carangvel is a needed one, as witnesses testify to the committee. So I thank the chairman's comments, and we members will decide through the vote. And as a chairman of the committee, Mr. Speaker, I recommend that we confirm the good work, his nomination, because of the good work he has provided, and it's time that he has sacrificed to continue to work with the Norma board. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Perman. Any further discussion?
Speaker.
Floor Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do understand that this gentleman has been serving on the board for quite a while, and I also understand that he has a lot of experience with the board. But the question that I have in mind is whether this is the only Yapese that is qualified to serve on the board.
Speaker.
Thank you. Chairman Figure.
I have to answer to his question. Yeah, he's the only Yapese qualified. But no, the question I raise is applies not only to one individual on the board or that particular board, but I think all the boards and Norma board should pay more attention, because we always say, oh yeah, these members and the Norma board and the government has done a great job in raising or getting more money from our resource. I think we all know that we only get about 1/4% of the revenue, fish revenue caught in our EEG. Is that a lot of money? That's a question that we should keep thinking about, because I believe that all the distant fishing countries or those companies make more money than, and we only get a fraction of the revenue. The other day I was able to, or supposed to, witness another accomplishment by NFC and her partners, but I was just to go there and be turned away. but I applaud the effort. But still, a lot of that revenue is going to go to the outside company. Not even half of it is going to come to this country. I just want those to be on record, so when these people do their diligent job, they can do better. Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Speaker.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, just to add to what Chairman of Ways and Means has said, it's true. We're beginning to see some of the onshore investment, the NFC and Tayo accomplishment to establish the Kachuobushi plant was just celebrated or just a couple of days ago, a few days ago at Tequetric, and CFC and one of the biggest fisheries companies are also talking about onshore investment at the Tequetric site, and we hope that all offices can put together the efforts, state and national, to make sure that these investments materialize. But I just want to say that the trend of Norma has been on good track in terms of the revenues and investment, as well as conservation of our fisheries on behalf of the nation. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Any further
Second.
discussion? Okay. It's been moved that debate be closed. If no objection, we will vote on the said committee report. All in favor of adoption of Standing Committee Report number 20-51, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Congress has now adopted Standing Committee Report number 20-51. Chief Clerk, next report.
Mr. Speaker, we have Standing Committee Report number 20-52 on Functional Resolution number 20-71 from your Committee on R&D for adoption.
Chairman Perman. Well, Chairman Panuelo.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. I move that Standing Committee Report number 20-52 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress adopt Standing Committee Report number 20-52. Discussion?
Speaker.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, in the same manner, we are discussing the report on Ms. Yuko Nakasone to serve on the Norma Port. She's been renominated by the President to continue to serve on the port. Yuko Nakasone is one of the relatively new members of the board representing Bombay State, and she brings in strength on the business side of to help with Norma, and testimony from witnesses greatly support the renomination and confirmation of on our nominee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Perman. Any further discussion, Chairman?
Comments, concerns that I raised in the previous Standing Committee report as pertains to the nominee on the Norma board applied to this nominee also. It's not directed toward the individual, but it's a general concern on how we do business. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Peguero. Any further discussion?
Well, Speaker, before you close the debate, just a thought, not thought that next time when we will make it a requirement that this individual must have a doctorate or some high kind of degree to be part of the port, so she or he knows the marketing part or the selling part of the fish. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question.
Second.
Question's been called for. If no objection, we will vote on the standing motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 20-52. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. Standing Committee Report number 20-52 has been adopted by Congress. Chief Clerk, next report.
Mr. Speaker, we have Standing Committee Report number 20-53 on Functional Bill number 20-38 from your Committee on R&D for adoption.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, thank you. I move that Standing Committee Report 20-53 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded that Standing Committee Report number 20-53 be adopted by Congress. Discussion. Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, thank you. Please kindly allow me to speak to the report. Speaker, the report is a good one to further amend Title 24 of the FSM Code by amending Section 920 thereof to allow for proper implementation of NORMA administrative penalties and for other purposes. The amendment to Section 920 is merely seeking to do away with the minimum penalties of fisheries, minor fisheries violations. The testimony by the witnesses, especially by NORMA, they explained that minor fisheries violations, which are not major, is being hampered in terms of enforcement and administrative procedures because of that minimum penalty. Some of the minor fisheries violations are much lower than the 40,000 minimum specified in the penalties under our Title 24. And the intent of the amendment is to do away with that so that they can come up with administrative penalties that will be enforced by our Attorney General's office. Both the AG's office and NORMA have worked together on this to recommend to Congress that this section of the law be amended. The maximum for these minor fisheries violations is 100,000. But I want to explain, as your chair of the R&D committee, that there are other higher penalties in other categories of violations of our fisheries laws that are much higher than the 100,000, and it goes up to $1 million or above, and those remains intact in the law. I think some of the minor fisheries violations, has been explained, does not warrant the kind of minimum specified in our law or the penalties of these boats that are conducting business in the waters. Some of the violations are very minor, and so they will work together to come up with the efficient way to enforce and administer these minor violations that can allow the boats to continue operation while their agents on ground can handle these kind of violations. Witnesses, and your committee, Speaker, recommends that this report be adopted and the amendments be supported by members of this body. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuelo. Chairman Rusmal, you have the floor.
During the hearing, I raised concern that first of all, I think this bill should have been assigned to the Committee on J&Co. But it bothers me that the entity that is supposed to conserve, while it is true that they issue license, they're also mandated to be there. They're pushing for something like the Department of Justice, because it has something to do with enforcement of our resources. But while it is true the witness from Justice also supported this, they were not the star witness. The star witnesses were NORMA, and that this bill was not assigned to J&Co. In my opinion, it's very much J&Co bill to address the civil penalties. I also tried to raise the question relating to what are minor violations. I guess I wasn't given the definition of minor violations. And so I wonder if anyone here can educate me on what is a minor violation relating to our fisheries.
Chairman Panuel, care to entertain?
Yes, Speaker. The good chairman of education was there, and I thank him for the questions that he raised directly with the witnesses or to the witnesses. And they did say some of the minor violations. It may not necessarily be captured by the report, but minor violations that they specified includes not displaying permits or not having observers on board. For example, dumping of illegal trash or hazardous materials into the ocean. And they may have mentioned some, but the report did not capture. But the intention of the report or the amendment is to also make sure that minor violations are not enforced in a way that is so unfriendly by our law enforcement officials. I think we as a country, we know that these vessels are doing business in our nation while they're trying to be efficient, so to make sure that business side of their operation is smooth. At the same time, we want to make sure that they comply with our laws in the FSM. But people who are dealing with, our officials who are dealing with these fishing companies know it very well that sometimes we become too overzealous in the enforcement of the law, even though those violations are very minor. It could be handled by citation of violation and then having it paid by their agents on land while they continue to operate. But the testimony speaks to it that some of the violations were so minor that sometimes they have to be pulled in on shore, which gives them a loss of business for days just to attend to minor violations. So some of the examples can be more clearer, but I believe that's what I captured from the witnesses who were there. And other members of the committee can share some of these minor violations. But both AG's office and NORMA worked together on this and recommended to Congress that this minimum violation or penalty be done away with, so that they can come up with administrative penalties that can be enforced efficiently, and making sure that these vessels comply with our laws. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman Panuolo. Any further discussion? If none, we will end the debate and we will vote on Standing Committee Report number 20-53. All in favor of adoption of the said motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Congress has now adopted Standing Committee Report number 20-53. And I would like to ask, we have no more Standing Committee reports. Next item, Chief Clerk.
Item number 15, Special Committee Reports. There are none.
All right, next item.
Item 16, Assignment of Measures and Communications. We have the referral sheet number 20-50.
Chairman and members, please take note. Next item.
Item 17, Unfinished Business. None, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Item 18, Bill Calendar. Mr. Speaker, the first bill on the calendar is CB number 20-140 for first reading.
Speaker.
Chairman Figueroa, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move to recommit the bill, Congress Bill number 20-140 to your Committee on Ways and Means.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress recommit CB number 20-140 to the Committee on Ways and Means. Any discussion? If none, we will vote on recommitting CB number 20-140 to committee. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carried. CB number 20-140 has been recommitted to committee. Next bill, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, the next bill is CP number 20-89 for first reading from your Committee on Health and Social Affairs, attached to Standing Committee Report 20-50. CP number 20-89 is a bill for an act to further amend Title 52 of the Code of the Federated States of Micronesia as annotated, as amended by amending sections 401 to 409 to realign the name of the plan through clarifying the roles of the administrator and to expand the eligible requirements and for other purposes.
Chairman Perman.
Thank you, Speaker. I'd like to make a motion to pass CP number 20-89 for first reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CB number 20-89 on first reading. Discussion? Any discussion? If none, we will vote for Congress to adopt CB number 20-89 on first reading. All in favor? Well, we will vote by roll call of members.
Senator Alec? Senator Aritos? Senator Figuer? Senator Coland? Floor Leader Harper? Senator Conman? Senator Ned? Senator Panuelo?
Aye.
Senator Perman? Senator Romulo? Senator Ursmal? What was this for? Okay. Senator Welly? Speaker Simina? Acting Speaker Moses?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, 13 members voted for.
With that, we have passed CB number 20-89 on first reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-38 for first reading from your Committee on R&D. CP number 20-38 is a bill for an act to further amend Title 24 of the Code of the Federated States of Micronesia as annotated, as amended, by amending Section 920 thereof to allow for proper implementation of NORMA administrative penalties and for other purposes.
Chairman Panuelo.
So move for the passage of the said bill on first reading, Speaker.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CB number 20-38 on first reading. Discussion? Chairman Panuelo.
Question.
If no discussion, debate is closed. We will now vote on the adoption of CB number 20-38 on first reading. We will vote by roll call of members.
Senator Alec? Senator Aritos? Senator Figuer? Senator Coland? Floor Leader Harper? Senator Conman? Senator Ned? Senator Panuelo?
Aye.
Senator Perman? Senator Romulo? Senator Ursmal? Senator Welly? Speaker Simina? Acting Speaker Moses?
Aye.
Mr. Speaker, 13 members voted for.
With that, Congress has passed CB number 20-38 on first reading. Next bill, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-132 for second reading. CP number 20-132 for second reading. It's a bill for an act to further amend Public Law number 19-124 as amended by Public Laws numbers 19-5 133, 19-140, 19-150, 20-5, 20-15, 20-33, 20-48, and 20-63 by amending Section 4 thereof to change the use of certain funds previously appropriated therein to fund priority infrastructure projects and other programs in the state of Pohnpei and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
Move for the passage of the said bill.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CB number 20-132 on second and final reading. Discussion? If no discussion, debate, question has been called for. We will now vote on CB number 20-132 on second and final reading by roll call of delegation.
State of Chuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
Amen.
State of Kushai, Chairman Willie. State of Yap, Chairman Ursmal. Mr. Speaker, all the 4 states voted in favor.
With that, Congress has passed CB number 20-132 on second and final reading. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CB number 20-133 for second reading. CB number 20-133 is a bill for an act to further amend Public Law number 20-53 as amended by Public Laws numbers 20-57 and 20-61 by amending Section 3 thereof to change the use of funds previously appropriated therein for the purpose of funding priority infrastructure projects and other projects and programs in the state of Pohnpei and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
So move.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass on second and final reading CB number 20-133. Discussion? If no discussion, question has been called for, and we will vote on the adoption of CB number 20-133 on second and final reading. We will vote by roll call of delegation.
State of Chuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
Amen.
State of Kushai, Chairman Willie. State of Yap, Chairman Ursmal. Mr. Speaker, 4 states voted for.
With that, Congress has passed on second and final reading CB number 20-134. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CB number 20-134 for second reading. CB number 20-134 is a bill for an act to further amend Public Law number 19-121 as amended by Public Laws numbers 19-130, 19-142, 20-9, 20-22, 20-51, and 20-59 by amending Sections 3 and 6 thereof to change the use and allotment of funds previously appropriated therein for the purpose of funding public projects and social programs for the people of the state of Kushai and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
Move for the passage of the said bill on second and final reading.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CB number 20-134 on second and final reading. Discussion?
Short recess.
Short recess.
Is it 139 or 130? 134.
134.
Manila.
That's 418.
Supplemental. Thank you. No, I thought I hear you 139.
134.
Okay, thank you.
You're good? Congress is back in session. The standing motion is the adoption of CB number 20-134. Discussion? If no discussion, question has been called for. We will now vote on the passage of CB number 20-134 on second and final reading by roll call of delegations.
Thank you, Speaker. State of Chuuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
I defer to Chairman Berman.
Chairman Perman.
Amen.
State of Kashai, Chairman Wali. State of Yap, Chairman Rusmal. Mr. Speaker, all the 4 states voted in favor.
With that, Congress has passed on second and final reading CB number 20-134. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, the next bill is CB number 20-139 for second reading. CB number 20-139 is a bill for an act to amend sections 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, and 12 of Public Law number 20-42 as amended by Public Laws numbers 20-54 and 20-64 in order to appropriate $4,451,203 of additional funds from the General Fund of the Federated States of Micronesia for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2018 to amend certain section subtitles to change the allotee for a particular line item and for other purposes.
Chairman Figueroa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move for the passage on second and final reading of the said bill CB 20-139.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass on second and final reading CB number 20-139. Discussion?
Question.
Speaker.
Speaker,
Short recess, Speaker.
Short recess. This is back in session. The standing motion is for the adoption of CB number 20-139 for second and final reading.
Speaker.
Chairman Gulen, you have the floor.
Thank you, Speaker. I have a floor amendment to CP 20-139. It's been distributed to members. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that the floor amendment by Senator Golan be adopted. Discussion?
Speaker.
Chairman Romulo.
Point of order, Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairman, floor leader.
Thank you, Speaker. Just to make sure that we're not violating any of our rules, I hereby move to suspend any relevant rule that may impede our action on the proposed amendment, especially the one that prohibits substantive amendment on second reading. Thank you.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that the relevant rules that may impede our action on the said amendment be suspended. If no objection, we will vote on the suspension of rules. All in favor of the said motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. The rules are now suspended. Chairman Romulo, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to offer an oral amendment onto the floor amendment submitted by Senator Colan. On the second page, line 2, after delete the figure 700, insert 721 and 89 in lieu thereof. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Short recess.
Short recess.
Have we taken care of
we're still on the proposed amendment by Senator, the proposed oral amendment by Senator Romulo to the amendment, the written amendment by Senator Golan.
Question.
For the offered floor amendment, oral amendment by, okay. Chief Clerk, did you take note of that oral amendment by Senator Romulo?
So recess.
So recess.
Short recess. We are currently on the oral amendment offered by Chairman Romulo.
Motion to withdraw my previous oral amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the oral amendment offered by Senator Chairman Romulo be withdrawn. Any discussion? If not, we will vote on the withdrawal of the said amendment offered by Chairman Romulo. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The oral amendment has now been withdrawn. We are now back to the floor amendment to CB number 20-139 offered by Chairman Golan.
Question.
If no further discussion, debate is closed. We will now vote on the floor amendment to CB number 20-139 offered by Chairman Golan to CB number 20-139. All those in favor of the said amendment say aye. All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion carried. We now have 20-39 CD1.
Speaker,
Chairman Figueroa.
I yield the floor to Chairman Urusmal.
Chairman Urusmal, you have the floor.
If the floor is yielded, are we back on the bill?
We're back on the bill.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. As I had alluded to earlier, when we arrive at this bill, I have some very minute amendments that I wish to make on the bill. I can read it. I like to read. Proposed floor amendments offered by yours truly to CB number 20-139 as amended is hereby further amended to read as follows. Item 1, page 21, line 21. Page 21, line 21, delete the figure 1,240,000 and insert the figure 1,200,000 in lieu thereof. Item 2, page 22, after line 10, insert the following. New item, paragraph E, fuel for patrol boats for assistance in Yap State, 40,000. This is under the Department of Justice. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It's been moved and seconded that the offered floor amendment by Chairman Urusmal be adopted.
I take it that the relevant
Chairman
rules-
has read the amendment.
I take it that the relevant rules are
Still suspended.
Mr. Speaker, the minor amendment is basically to address an urgent need of the government for this fuel money. So 200,000 will be added to the 1,000,000 and 40,000 for fuel. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion, objections? If none, we will vote on the offered floor amendment by Chairman Urusmal. All those in favor of the said motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. The offered floor amendment by Senator Urusmal has now been adopted. We now have 20-139 CD2.
Now I
Speaker.
move for a short recess, Mr. Speaker.
Short recess.
Point of privilege, Speaker.
State your point.
Thank you. Speaker, thank you. Kindly allow me to introduce for recognition the following individuals who are observing our session this morning, and we thank them all. I will begin with Mr. Rainer Soris, I believe, who's now a farmer, but former Speaker of Council. I hope I got it right or reading it right. Let's give him a round of recognition and welcome him to the chamber. We also have Perez Amaraj, who I know. He's a community leader for Sagare and also a teacher for Roye, Soliti, and Peidia School. Let's give him a round of recognition, please. Thank you. And I will introduce two individuals from our FSM Supreme Court, Mr. Pelanyoma and Keska Jacob. Let's recognize them, please. And lastly but not the least, two FSM National Bullies who are also observing our session this morning, and that's Kim Alex and Charles Otoko. I hope I pronounced their names right. Thank you. Let's give them a round of recognition.
Thank you. Speaker. Thank you, Chairman, for that. We always appreciate having our citizens in the gallery. Short recess. The bill.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I also have a minor amendment that I wish to make on the same bill as amended. Item 1, page 9, line 15. Delete the figure 10 and insert the figure 20. Delete the figure 10,000 and insert the figure 20,000 in lieu thereof. Item 2, page 9, line 16. Delete the figure 50. Delete the figure 60,000 and insert the figure 50,000 in lieu thereof. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
It's been moved and seconded that the offered floor amendments by Chairman Ursula be adopted.
Mr. Speaker, I take it the relevant rules still
suspended.
Okay, just to explain what I'm doing here with all due respect to my colleague. Colon amendment increases the app contractual services up to 60,000. So out of that 60, if it's going to pass, 10,000 is being taken out of it and put into travel of the delegation. That's why the increase in travel, which is the 20,000, and decrease in contractual to 50,000. It's not new money, just the taking money, reshuffling.
Any discussion, objections? If none, we will vote on this oral amendment offered by Chairman Ursula. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. We now have 20-139 CD3.
I move for the previous question.
It's been moved and seconded that we close debate on 20-39 CD3, and we will vote by roll call of delegation.
State of Joe, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo.
I defer to Senator Net to cast our vote.
Senator Net. State of Kushai, Chairman Willie. State of Yap, Chairman Ursmal. Mr. Speaker, all the 4 states for the 4.
With that, Congress has passed on second and final reading CD number 20-139, CD 3. Next bill.
Mr. Speaker, we have CP number 20-141 for second reading.
Chairman Figueroa. Chairman Figueroa.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CB number 20-141 for second and final reading. Discussion?
Speaker,
Floor Leader, you have the floor.
may I ask for a short recess?
Short recess. This is back in session. We are now on the adoption of CB number 20-141. Any discussion? Chairman Urusmal, you have the floor.
It's okay, I don't want the...
Any further discussion? If none, we will vote by roll call of delegations. Chief Clerk, please call the roll.
State of Chuuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo. State of Kushai, Chairman Wali. State of Yap, Chairman Urusmal. Mr. Speaker, 4 states for the 4.
With that, we have passed on second and final reading CB number 20-141. Next bill.
May I ask for a short recess?
Short recess. This is back in session. Next bill, Chief Clerk.
Speaker, I move that we reconsider CB number 20-141.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress recall CD number 20-141
Speaker, reconsider.
for reconsideration. If no objection, all in favor of the said motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Wait, by state. We will vote by roll call of delegations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for reconsideration of 20-141. State of Chuuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Pohnpei, Chairman Panuelo. State of Kushai, Chairman Wali. State of Yap, Chairman Urusmal. Mr. Speaker, all the 4 states voted for reconsideration of 20-141.
With that, we now have CB number 20-141. Chairman Panuelo.
Yes, Speaker, with the kind permission of our Chairman of Ways and Means, I wish to offer a floor amendment to CP number 20-141 on all our behalf with the breakdown of our amendment. So move, Mr. Speaker.
It's been moved and seconded that the offered oral floor amendment by Senator Panuelo be adopted. Discussion?
Second.
Speaker.
Yes, Floor Leader, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have a oral amendment to make, and I hope the relevant rules are still suspended. On page 2, under item 6, letter E, where it says MEDA staff, travel and training, the figure 20,000 should be replaced by the figure 10,000, and then letter D, where it says 40,000, it should be 50,000. If it's so clear, Mr. Speaker, I so move.
Oral amendments by Floor Leader Harper be adopted. Discussion? If none, we will vote on the said oral amendments offered by Floor Leader Harper. All those in favor of this said motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. We now have CB number 20-41 CD1.
Speaker.
Chairman Panuelo.
Yeah, Speaker, thank you. Under item 2, letter H, I just want to make sure that the name reflects the current name of the Palm Bay Women Council. It says Palm Bay Women Association, and I ask that we treat that with technical, the staff can correct that. But I want to continue after Palm Bay Women Council or Association, whatever the correct name, to say for 2018. So move, Speaker.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that the offered floor amendments by Chairman Panuelo be adopted. Any said amendment offered by Chairman Panuelo? All in favor of the amendment offered by Chairman Panuelo say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carried. We have CB number 20-141 CD2. Any more discussion? If none, we will vote by roll call of delegations on CB number 20-141 CD2.
State of Chuk, Chairman Aritos. State of Palm Bay, Chairman Panuelo.
I defer to Chairman Perman to cast Palm Bay's vote.
Chairman Perman.
Amen to Lul.
State of Kushai, Chairman Wali. State of Yap, Chairman Ursmal. Mr. Speaker, all the 4 states voted for.
With that, we have repassed on second and final reading CB number 20-141 CD2. Next bill.
There are no more, Mr. Speaker.
Next item.
Mr. Speaker, under item 19, resolution calendar 81 for adoption from your Committee on External Affairs, and this is a resolution to confirm the nomination of Mr. Joe Selim B. Inlet to serve as the FSM Consul General in Portland, Oregon, USA.
Chairman Willie.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress adopt Congressional Resolution number 20-66 CD1. Discussion.
Speaker.
Floor Leader Harper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just take this time to simply state it on the record my support for the nomination, not because he's a Chukis, but because of all the educational background and work experience, and for his own also personality, that I do support the individual for the position. And I beg and hope that all members will also support this nominee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman. Floor Leader Harper. Any other discussion?
Question.
If none, then question's been called for. We will vote by secret ballot. Session. Chief Clerk, please read the results.
Mr. Speaker, all the 13 members present voted in favor.
With that, we have a new Consul General. Next resolution.
Mr. Speaker, we have Functional Resolution number 20-75 for adoption from your Committee on Health and Social Affairs, CR number 20-75 is a resolution approving and accepting a grant in the amount of $816,106 from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Centers for Disease Control Prevention to fund the project entitled "To Accelerate the Prevention and Control of HIV, Viral Hepatitis, Sexually Transmitted Disease, and Tuberculosis in the FSM and Pacific Islands, including all the terms and conditions of the assistance."
So move for its adoption, Mr. Speaker.
Any second? It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass Congressional Resolution number 20-75. Discussion?
Speaker,
Chairman Figueroa.
yeah, I just have a question on seems to be a lot of money here. I wonder what this money is going to do to curtail or reduce the CDs throughout the Federation. When the committee, which I sat on and as a bystander, we were informed that CD, communicable disease, has spread. And all the years that we've been getting this kind of money, I wonder if it's really helping us. And some of the people who have contacted some of this disease may be interpreting the Bible wrongly. They're going around and multiply. I wonder what plan our Department of Health Services and the government has to.
Chairman Berman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, but I believe that the Chairman of Ways and Means was part of that oversight hearing. But anyways, yeah, the committee shared some disappointment on the Department of Health and how they were doing the awareness programs, because we've been told that yes, number of HIV has went up, especially in Pohnpei, and of course it's the confidential part of it that we raise is that these people are roaming around. They are in Pohnpei or anywhere without anybody watching them, but there are laws in place that if they, knowing the fact that they have these diseases, and if they go out an individual, for sure the authorities will take action. So our main concern is that to do awareness in our own local languages. And because I told them, every day I turn on the AM radios at 8 o'clock to listen to the news, and from Colonia all the way to Palikir every day during session or not during session, and never once, or even do my own little intelligence work to find out whether the awareness is working. No, it's not. So we raised this concern to the Department of Health and those people that is actually getting paid by these grants to make sure that next time around when they bring it, we want to make sure that the awareness of this HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, all the diseases that cause of sexual transmitted should be for them to broaden that awareness, all from schools all the way, instead of just working, receiving these grants, getting paid, and too little on awareness. And again, the main is the awareness part of it. That's where the lack, I'm seeing it, and I think that's one of the main concerns that Chairman Rusubal is raising. But we make sure that we brought them on right after the oversight hearing again to make sure that they'll take this matter very seriously, and even let the people who has these problems or these diseases to know what are the laws in place, and if they break the law.
Any further discussion? Chairman Rusman.
Yeah, thank you. Just to supplement what my good chairman has indicated, part of the problem with the public education, public awareness programs has to do with our custom and culture. especially when we're dealing with this kind of diseases. So it's difficult to go out into the communities and really teach the people, or at least educate the people on what to do and what not to do. So not only the National Health Department, but also the state health people are trying to help by using local people, including the women groups, to help public awareness on these diseases that can be eradicated or can be taken care of. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Any further discussion? Chairman Figueroa.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the explanation given by the chairman, the two chairmen. But the concern I have is such that year in, year out, we apply for these grants because they are there. But we don't care what the result. We don't know how much of this money is spent on the ground, that is in the states, to take care of the problem. And the other concern that I have is we're wasting somebody's money because it's there and it's available to us. I think at some point we need to be serious, because if we don't do anything, we may end up when the United States, money is coming out of CDC, and there's a move in the United States to curtail the expenditures or the spending of the government. And what we're going to do, is there any plan in place that these kind of programs will continue? These are some of the questions that I think we need to answer, especially the implementers of these programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Figueroa.
The Speaker, I think serving a second term, I've actually seen a little improvement on the reports, on the result, the stats of what's happening, because we've been demanding, the Committee of Health and of course Education too. I've seen that we demand them that, next time around, the ongoing programs, we don't want to see how much you spend on travel, how much you spend on, we want to see results. Result is what. And I'm pretty sure right now that we're doing live sessions right now, and we're also, the total number of, it's more than 10 in the entire FSM. Palm Bay alone, it's 12 from teenage all the way to in their 40s. That's the only thing I can share right now, so people of this nation in Palm Bay, they know that this is the number. And the formula is that one person, it's 10 can be infected. So if you say 10, you do the math there. 10, that's about 100 already infected that we don't know. So again, yes, the concern raised by Chairman Figueroa, Chairman of Education and Health, because we deal with lots of grants, and we've been always pushing them and telling them, come next time around on hearings, we want to see results, stats, so we know what numbers, and that's why we know this number. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Chairman. Any further discussion? Congress will now vote to adopt CR number 20-75. All motion carried. Congress has now adopted Congressional Resolution number 20-75. Next resolution, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have Congressional Resolution number 20-67, CD1 for adoption from your Committee on R&D. CR number 20, Coronfeld to serve as a member of the Board of Directors of the National Oceanic Resource Management, or representing Yap State.
Chairman Panuelo.
The Speaker, so move for the adoption of said resolution.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass CR number 20-67, CD1. Discussion.
Speaker.
Floor Leader Harper, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also want to state but because of the pessimistic questions and statement made by Chairman Figure, I'm kind of doubting whether I will still vote for it or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Floor Leader, for those comments. Any more discussion?
Question.
Second.
If no discussion, question's been called for, we will vote by secret ballot. Short recess.
All right, 13 members. Again, please, let's vote.
Congress is back in session. Chief Clerk, please announce the result.
Mr. Speaker,
Next resolution, Chief Clerk.
So, Floor, you were serious, eh?
No. Actually, I voted yes, but I don't know who's sneaking under my.
Next resolution, Chief Clerk.
Mr. Speaker, we have Congressional Resolution number 20-71, CD1 for adoption from your Committee on R&D, CR number 20-71, CD1, Ko Nakasone, to serve as a member of the National Oceanic Resource Management Authority, or NORMA, Board of Directors, representing Pohnpei State.
Chairman Panuelo.
Speaker, I so move for the adoption of SCR number 20-71. Thank you.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress pass Congressional Resolution number 20-71, CD1. Discussion?
Question.
If no objection, question has been called for, and we will vote by secret ballot. Short recess. Chief Clerk, please announce the results.
Mr. Speaker, 13 members voted for.
With that, Ms. Nakasona has been reaffirmed for her board position.
Members.
Okay. Chief Clerk, next item.
Mr. Speaker,
Chairman Rosmo, yeah.
nobody clapped when Caramfello was confirmed. Why?
No, we did.
Speaker, motion to stand in recess till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that Congress stands in recess until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. If no objection, we will vote. All in favor of the said motion, say aye. All opposed, say nay. Congress stands in recess until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.